Now, Ben, you're going to take us into the realms of farmer and farming, which sounds to me like a bit of a dangerous combination.
Say that again. Yes, we're going to have a look at Big Farm. That's what I'm calling it. This is where farming and the pharmaceutical industries meet. Let's hear from Henry Dimbleby. Oh, we're going to get that.
Is that one going to come up?
I've been thinking a lot about appetite-suppressing drugs recently, and I don't think food companies are even close to being prepared for the kind of change that they might bring to bear in our food system, both in terms of what people eat, but also in terms of what we grow. What do we know so far? We know, for example, that in this country, 1.5 million people are taking them. It took SSRIs and statins 10, 13 years to get to that level of consumption. And people are paying £2,000 plus a year for these drugs. We also know that the price is going to come down. We know that they're going to be available in pill form. We know that people eat differently, not just less volume when they're on them, but different quality of food, more fruit and veg, less junk food, less donuts, more fiber. And so if you play that forward, what happens? Well, we have a situation where convenience shops, supermarkets, restaurants are selling a very different mix of food and less food, but also our supply, which has grown up basically being built on refined calorie base of refined carbohydrates, refined vegetable oils and refined sugar, it could change that as well. So it might not just change what's on your high street, it could also change what you see when on our land, how our land is used. It's going to be a pretty wild ride. And if you aren't thinking about this in terms of your business 5 years from now, it's probably time you should start, because it's going to be a pretty crazy transition, I think.
Well, that's encouraging crazy transition.
Yeah, right.
That's what we need to help run our lives, chaos and crazy transitions.
Exactly that, right? And regular viewers will remember Dr. Liz Evans did a segment about 2 months ago, I think it was, talking about Ozempic and these weight loss drugs and the fact that they're causing cancers, and there's been no proper oversight in terms of the regulator, and actually they're destroying people's bones, and we've got no idea of the long-term health effects of these things. And yet we've got Henry Dimbleby here saying that we need to transform the food system in response to those drugs, because essentially they are here to stay now, right? That doesn't strike me as a reasonable strategy. Someone in a position of influence in the food system, and he does have significant influence in the food system. He launched a fund last year, we reported it at the time, to transform the global food system, to disrupt it and commercialise it for his own benefit ultimately. Starting here in the UK, it's called Bramble Partners. There we go. They're on a mission to fix what they call the broken food system with investments in intelligence to create impact at scale. And that's all about tackling climate change, obviously, restoring the environment, improving health and well-being, increasing food security, all of the kind of buzzwords. Quite a lot of occult symbolism on the website, to be honest with you. There's the Masonic bee on there, and also the Hermetic seed of life. So make of that what you will, and that actually carries through to Mr. Dimbleby's LinkedIn profile. You can see the bumblebee on the left-hand side there, where we discover that a few years ago, he was actually the author of the National Food Strategy between 2019 and 22, and I'll come back to that in a moment, while at the same time working as the lead non-executive director at DEFRA, and also working as an external advisor to Bain. So there was an overlap between working at DEFRA and working with Bain. And Bain is one of the big three strategy firms alongside McKinsey and BCG, who are the basically dictate policy for global corporate and increasingly for international governments as well. And they are strategic partners of the World Economic Forum. So you want to understand how WEF policy gets inserted into the UK government, it's through people like this, doing dual roles between public and private sector, right? And Bain, fascinatingly, notoriously one of the most ruthless, commercially ruthless consulting firms in the world. And in 2022, when Mr. Dimbleby was working with them, they actually got banned from working in South Africa for 10 years for orchestrating what is called a state capture. So essentially, they repurposed state institutions to the advantage of the firm, the government, and its private sector allies. Right. So I can't imagine that anything like that was happening in the UK at the same time, although it did actually lead to a 3-year ban on delivering UK government work, which was overturned after just 6 months. Apparently, they really want to work with Bain. Obviously, Mr. Dimbleby has now gone off to Bain. So, you know, I'm sure that there's nothing going on here.
Nothing
Nothing untoward. Yeah, absolutely. They also, interestingly, Bain provided, and again, I reported on quite a lot of this last year, but it's useful to just restate this in the context of how this is developing. Bain also provided supplementary evidence to the development of the National Food Strategy. So actually, these are the people who are inputting into what's going to happen next in our food supply. Also, Dave Halpin from Behavioural Insights team is in the mix as well. And in there, they talk about the food system as a series of interconnected industrial processes. It's a value chain, essentially, from left to right, all the different component parts. Lots and lots of big corporates in there. You can see a Tesco logo, Mars, Tate and Lyle, all those kinds of people. They're particularly interested in this bit, though, produce. This is farms, basically. And the big weakness, apparently, in the UK food system is that there are too many independently owned farms, and we need to consolidate those into corporate entities that can trade more effectively with the other big corporate component parts of the supply chain. And interestingly, what are Bramble Partners, Henry Dimbleby's firm, up to? They just launched a few months ago the 1 Million Hectares Coalition, a new national movement to regenerate 1 million hectares of UK farmland in the next decade. And it's about 5% of our total farmland. And that will very neatly align with the interests of the pharmaceutical industry and international capital, as Mr. Dimbleby was talking about in the video we shared at the start.
Yeah, incredible. Regenerate 1 million hectares, and at the same time, we destroy farming land to put in the renewable energy system. So complete madness and chaos, but deliberate. But I noticed that the people taking control of the food supply or already embedded in it are regarded as players. That's how they were labelled in your diagram. They're merely players in the food system.
Indeed.
Okay.